You know that feeling, right? That sense that you're searching for something, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. Well, there's this incredible ancient idea, reimagined for our world today, that says the map you're looking for, it isn't out there somewhere. It's deep inside you. So today, we're going to explore a fascinating tool for this exact journey, an instrument for real inner change, all inspired by the ancient Mesoamerican abacus. This old story just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It captures a problem we all face. We look for answers, for happiness, for that thing we think is missing absolutely everywhere except within ourselves. We go from well to well, totally forgetting that we might already be carrying the very treasure we're searching for. So, this explainer, it's all about learning how to finally look at that treasure we carry inside.
So what is this thing? It's called the Nepohualtzinzin of the soul. Now, the original was used for math, for counting, but this version, it's an inner abacus. Think of it like a personal guide for a kind of spiritual alchemy. You know, the process of turning the heavy, dull lead of our everyday personality into the shining, precious gold of our true spiritual self.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to look at the abacus itself. We'll explore our inner raw materials, what are called the four inner bodies, and then our guiding stars, the three supreme virtues. And after that, we'll walk the path of transformation to see how you can go from feeling stuck in a swamp to becoming a free-flowing spring. Okay, let's dive right in. We're starting on one side of our inner abacus. This side represents the four core elements of who we are. This is the basic stuff we all have to work with, the raw material for our entire soul's journey. These four beads are basically the fundamental layers of our being. It starts with our physical body and goes all the way to our deepest sense of self, our will. The whole idea here is to stop seeing ourselves as just one single thing and instead see a combination of four distinct but totally interconnected energies that we can actually learn to work with. The first bead is fire. And this isn't just any old fire. This is our divine spark. It's the absolute core of our consciousness, the part of us that can say, I am. It's our will, our drive, and when it's at its best, it becomes the source of a pure, unconditional love for everything that exists. Now, here's the tricky part. Each of these bodies has potential traps. For our inner fire, it's a real balancing act. On one hand, there's the risk of spiritual pride, where we start thinking we're totally self-sufficient and don't need anything or anyone. On the other hand, there's the risk of our will hardening into a cold, me-first selfishness. Real growth is all about navigating the path right between those two extremes. Next up, we've got the air bead. This is our astral body. Think of this as the vibrant, constantly shifting world of our inner life. It's where all our feelings live, our likes, our dislikes. It's basically the psychological weather inside us that colors everything we experience. The third bead is water, our etheric body. So if the astral body is our weather, the etheric is like the deep ocean currents underneath. It controls our deeper, vital rhythms, things like our breathing and circulation, but also our core habits and our temperament. This is the very life force that keeps us going. And finally, we have the earth deed, our physical body. And the crucial thing here is to shift how we see it. It's not a cage for the spirit. It's a sacred temple. It's the solid, real-world structure that lets our spirit actually have a home here and do things. It is an absolutely precious and essential tool. Okay, let's flip over to the other side of the abacus. If the four bodies are our raw materials, then these three virtues are like our guiding stars. They're the higher ideals we're aiming for, the qualities we want to build in ourselves. The three supreme virtues, truth, beauty, and goodness, aren't just some abstract, fuzzy ideas. They're directly connected to systems inside of us. Truth shows up as real clarity in our thinking. Beauty comes from finding balance in our feelings. And goodness, that's what happens when our will turns into real compassionate action. These are living forces we can actually cultivate. So we have our raw materials, the four bodies, and we have our guiding stars, the three virtues. The big question is, how do we actually do the work? How do we get from one to the other? Well, the center of the abacus shows us the way. It's a path of transformation, a kind of ladder of development that we can climb one step at a time. The journey starts in what's called the swamp. And let's be honest, this is kind of our default state, where we're just reacting to things, driven by old habits and impulses. But then we start to wake up, and we become the river, actively looking for a direction, for a purpose. Next, we can become the lake, a place of quiet, of purification, of deep reflection. And all of that leads us to the spring, where we start to create things from a place of real, conscious awareness. This story is the absolute perfect picture of being in the swamp. Nasruddin thinks his whole body's in pain, but the problem is actually much simpler. He's just touching everything with a broken finger. And isn't that so true for us? We so often think the world is the problem, when really, we're just experiencing everything through our own unhealed parts. This is the key question. This is the whole point of our development. The lake stage is so important for getting clear and learning to just hold our experiences without being totally swept away. But it's not the end of the road. So how do we make that jump from just passively reflecting to actively becoming a source of new life and inspiration? And that question right there brings us to the final, and honestly, the most beautiful part of this whole journey. What happens when we do the work? When we really start using this abacus of the soul, we don't just move through stages. We actually start to embody incredible new ways of being. The journey leads us to becoming a spring. We're not just reacting to the world anymore, we actually become a source. New ideas, real inspiration, genuine acts of love, they all start bubbling up from inside us, and they nourish us and everyone around us without ever running dry. And that spring doesn't just stay put, it grows and it becomes a river. It gains a direction, a purpose. We learn to just flow with life, to adapt to whatever comes our way without losing our course, connecting people and ideas, and bringing life to everything we touch. And eventually, our river flows into an ocean. At this stage, we develop this amazing ability to receive all of life's experiences, the good, the bad, all of it, without being thrown off balance. We can take it all in and transform it with our own powerful inner alchemy. And believe it or not, it goes even higher. We can become like a cloud, able to rise above the day-to-day drama and see the bigger picture. We can travel freely, delivering wisdom and comfort wherever they're needed, without being tied down to any one place. And the absolute peak of this entire path, we become a rain of blessings. Our very existence becomes a force for renewal. We give back everything we've gathered, not because we have to, but just as a natural part of who we are, bringing new life to the driest parts of the world and the human soul. And so we end up right back where we started, but with a completely new understanding. This inner abacus, it's not just a map to some far-off destination. It helps us wake up to a profound truth. The entire journey, from the tiny drop to the vast ocean, from the murky swamp to the life-giving rain, it's all happening inside us. We are, and we have always been, both the person who is searching and the treasure that is being sought.